Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys. And this video, I've been waiting for this movie for a very long time. Well, really since it's been announced. And most people and fans of My Hero Academia have been waiting for this movie for the very long time and for the first time since goodness really since it was announced and Japan first got it. Like even now I'm like, Jesus, Japan always gets the movies first. The same thing happened with Dragon Ball Super Broly. Well, yeah, but then we got the month later. The same thing happened with One Piece, Stampede. Konosuba, which was one of my favorite animes, they got their freaking movie first for Japan, and My Hero Academia Heroes Rising got their movie first, and we only get it like 2 months later. Man, what a good movie. What a good movie. I had a lot of blast. I bet you can tell not only by the thumbnail, but just the way I'm talking right now. This movie was amazing. Um, so I'm gonna get into it. For you guys who watch My Hero Academia content on the channel, or you just watch My Hero Academia straight up, I'm doing my review for My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. Now, if you have, or well, if this is your first time on the channel where it pertains to movie reviews, I'm gonna handle this movie like I do my movie reviews, my generic movie reviews. So the first couple of minutes, like I'll try to stretch it out to 10. I talk about non-spoiler stuff for people who have yet to see the film and are expecting to see the film either tomorrow or the few next coming days. Um, and then after I pass like around the 10-minute mark, that's when I talk about spoilers. So for the people who saw the movie and want to get my thoughts on certain spoilers, you can stay and listen to that. Otherwise, if you hadn't seen the movie and I guess you don't care about spoilers, you can still watch it. But if I were you, I'd probably click off, watch the movie, and then come back. But that's how I'm gonna structure this video. Otherwise, I'm gonna get into talking about this movie because this movie was just great. And actually, out of the other two anime movies that came to theaters, which was Dragon Ball Super Broly and One Piece Stampede, bless me. The other those other two movies, like I said, which were Dragon Ball Super Broly and One Piece Stampede, um, I liked both One Piece Stampede and Dragon Ball Super Broly, but if you ask me in my personal honest thoughts, I thought My Hero Academia was better than those movies. That's just me. It may not be that for you guys. You obviously, out of those two other movies, might think one of those movies are better than My Hero Academia, but you know, it's kind of hard to see this movie and say, well, I would say the closest you could probably come tie neck and neck between that is I would say Dragon Ball Super Broly and My Hero Academia. I did like One Piece Stampede. It's just it kind of really didn't have like some kind of story, and it was just kind of an action film, really. But My Hero Academia, it has a little bit of story, and it has some, or well, not some, a lot of action, and some really good character moments. I'm gonna give a brief summary of this film, and essentially, My Hero Academia, Heroes Rising. Now I don't know if this movie's canon. Technically, they made the last movie two Heroes canon because they placed it legit in between season 2 and season 3. I guess for this movie, you can place this movie if it were canonically into the anime's timeline. You could probably fit this movie in between season 4 and a little bit at the start of season 5. That's my only guess. Like I said, I don't know if, Horikoshi said this movie would be, like, I guess, canon. Usually, anime movies are not canon in terms of stuff. Only certain things. Like, really, the only canonical movie I've seen were Battle of Gods, Revival of F, and Dragon Ball Super Broly. So, obviously, you could fit this in whatever, at least after season 4 and I guess at the start of season 5, somewhere around there. But anyways, the brief summary of this movie is essentially Deku and Class 1A are taken to an island called Nabu Island for, some essentially like community service, basically. I forgot what they say in the movie, but it's essentially like community service to help them further their trainings as heroes. And essentially, they're on an island that's called Nabu Island that, is basically like it's a remote little island. There are no heroes, and essentially they have to watch over this island and, take care of the townspeople, folk, and make sure that they're all right. At the same time, there will be no heroes from the outside world, like we all know, are assisting them, and Panda Net, or an attack from the villains Nine and his little group, attack the island to essentially create havoc, and essentially Deku and Class 1A have to stop his little group from destroying the island and destroying, or really, killing the townspeople, essentially. That's kind of a brief summary without going into deep spoilers. That's just your generic summary for the film. I'll talk a little bit about, especially if you're anime only, at the end of the non-spoiler review. But I guess the one thing I can talk about is the animation. The animation, my goodness, the animation is some of the best animation you'll see in My Hero Academia. If not one of the best. I thought this movie had better animation than Two Heroes, and then even had better animation than some of the best animated episodes of the show. So obviously, I know a lot of people were upset with season 4, episode 12, when Mario fought Overhaul, and a lot of people were like, the animation was not that good for that, fight. And there was a lot of people that did not like that because the main people were focusing on making this movie. Obviously, you can see that the animation was really well done. I didn't see no faults at all with the animation. It was really good. So I like the animation a lot. It was good. I'm not much of an animation type of guy, but if you're looking for a visually stunning movie, it's that type of movie, especially with the action scenes. The action scenes were top notch. The action scenes had you on the edge of your seats. Like, literally, especially when you get to Deku and Kacchan, or Deku and Bakugo versus Nine in the film. That stuff was epic. The choreography and just some of the, epic fighting moments you have. There's like a really, badass moment with Todoroki in this film when it comes to fighting and stuff like that. Sero and Ochako, they have a badass moment in this film fighting. Some of the villains, Tokoyami, jeez, it was great to just look at this movie, and it was visually stunning. I guess the next thing I can say, the music was all right. I guess my only issue with this film is there's really no original soundtrack. Like, literally, there's not an original soundtrack. Like, I think some bits and tunes were original, or like a little bit of a remix. But like Two Heroes, this movie used not an original soundtrack for this movie. They used and brought some tracks from the anime movie, or from the anime. Like, for example, if you didn't know, and sorry for saying this, but they do play the little, vocal song track from the anime, when Deku finally saves Eri, when he gets a hold of her, if you remember that scene. They play that song in this movie. Yeah, so, and then even in the first scene of the film, they play one of those intense beats from the anime songs when a character is fighting, and it's like, oh, so they don't have an original soundtrack for this movie. It's just they just took some of the music from the anime. Yes, it's cheap and it saves you a budget from getting like, a musician to make a whole new soundtrack. I think it would have been really nice if they just had made a whole new soundtrack for this movie. Because I think that's a negative that some people say in Two Heroes, that there was no original soundtrack. Um, so I guess that's a little issue I had with the film, that they kind of had just music from the anime. It's no original soundtrack, but regardless, it's still good. Like I said, if anything, the I think the song's like titled "I Might You" or something like that. The vocal one, the vocal song I was just talking about. Um, you know, that wasn't that bad. It was a nice placed scene, or a nice place where they put it in the movie. And then I guess one of the last few things I can say is the characters were really good in the movie. Deku, Deku and Bakugo are obviously, they were the main advertisers for this film because they were always on the posters for being, especially even that first poster of this movie. This really is a Deku Bakugo movie, more than anybody else. But everyone else in Class 1A, they get, even in a little bit of it, they get at least a bit of time to shine in this film, which I think what I like is the fact that they made Class 1A be on their own, where there's no other heroes to help them out in this situation. So when the villains come, you see how Class 1A has to deal with these, villains, and essentially show that, they have grown. And there was some really good character moments from all the heroes, even, Mineta. I would say the only person that really doesn't do anything is Hagurake, or, the invisible chick Toru. She really doesn't do anything because that's really it. She kind of just stays there. Like, like I said, Mineta does more than her. She's the only Class 1A character that does legit nothing. So who knows whatever they do with Toru in the series. Obviously I think you can say she's the weakest character out of Class 1A because she doesn't do anything, but all the Class 1A cast, they do, stuff. And they're pretty, influential with what they do in this movie, and they help out in their small little ways. The villains, which were Nine, Slice, Chimera, and Mummy, the main bad guys of the film, they were all good in this film. I really like Nine's character the most. My second would have to be really a tie between Slice and Chimera. I really liked Chimera a lot because he was really cool. I like Slice a lot because I thought she was just that badass, female villain chick you see in a movie every now and then. And I thought I liked her a lot. Nine, he was obviously the star villain of the show. He was really good in this film, and he was a threat, From the moment you first see him on screen, he is a legit threat. And then I guess the last new characters that were introduced were the two kids, which were Maharo and Katsuma. When I was first watching the first few minutes of this film, I thought they would be annoying, the annoying little kid characters every anime movie always shoehorns in, that helps, or is some kind of inspiration to the main character, or some ties to the movie. And I'm gonna be pleasantly honest, they were actually fine, and they were actually pretty good characters in this. They had their character development moment in this, movie, where you see their character grow. They're not the annoying kids in typical anime shonen movies you see every now and then, which they kind of become of a nuisance or bugging of the main character. You see them grow throughout this film. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't know how other people's opinions will think when it comes to Maharo and Katsuma, or Katsume, or yeah, Katsuma. It's really up to your choice on what you thought about them and stuff like that. Now, before I get out of the non-spoiler review section, I'm going to give you my ratings. I thought this movie was a really good movie. I liked it a lot. It kept me entertained from beginning to end. My interest was really much piqued for the entire movie, especially the final fight scene. This movie, I'm just gonna say it straight up. This movie is a 2-hour film. I watched this movie My movie start time started at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and I did not get out of that theater till like 9 o'clock, almost around like the 9:20 area. Um, so this movie is long, and it's worth the 2 hours really being up in the theater. Like I thought the movie would be like an hour and 54 minutes. No, this movie is much longer than I thought. Like when I thought it would end, like when I thought Deku fought Nine for the first time because he fights him two different times in this film. I thought like, oh, we're getting to when the villains attack. I'm like, okay, we're getting to the climax of the film. Nope, the climax of the film is like a whole nother like hour of the film, and I'm like, okay, this movie is really long. Jeez, I did not expect it because when I was, talking to my friends about the movie, I was like, this movie was very long. But like I said, it's worth it. I know Horikoshi said he's not doing any more My Hero Academia movies. And this was the last My Hero Academia movie. So for it being its last My Hero Academia movie, it was worth it, and it was worth me sitting in the theaters for about 2 hours or so. So I'm gonna give this movie a rating of 9 out of 10. You know, it's good. It's not perfect, but it's good. And stuff like that. And the crazy thing is, I'm literally skipping the Clippers right now to give you guys this review. Um, so yeah, like I said, the character moments, the villains were really crazy, and there was a part in this scene where there was a part in the movie that I almost teared up and I almost cried. I'm not gonna lie, I almost cried. I was trying to fight back the tears because I don't like being emotional watching these movies and stuff like that. But I almost legit cried almost in this movie because there was a scene that was very emotional. I won't say what it is, but it was a very emotional scene that I almost teared up a bit, and I was like, "Hold back the tears, buddy. Hold back the tears." But this movie was really good. I had a lot of fun watching this movie. The animation was great and stuff like that. Now, before I get to the spoilers discussion, what I'm gonna say is for anime only people, because it's a big talking point. Like, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie because of possible spoilers? Um, from what I recall, I counted. Well, from what I can remember, I counted at least 4 to 5 things that could spoil you for the future of the anime of the series. Now, for manga only readers, obviously you're good to do that. Had to become a I had to become a manga reader to even be able to get a chance to see this movie and give this review to you guys. But yeah, for your anime only peoples, I will say there will be some things that they'll show if you do end up seeing this movie. There'll be some things you'll see will be like, what is that and where, and stuff like that. If you haven't been checking out my My Hero Academia reviews, and the last review I did with episode 19, I do mention that Deku does get a character costume upgrade. I won't tell you what it is, but if you're an anime only person, he will be getting that character this costume upgrade, if not this upcoming Saturday's episode, but by next Saturday's episode. That would be the only thing I could tell you about that would count as a spoiler for the future. But everything else would be most definitely spoiler that would be talking about season 5 content. Yeah, that'd be my only concern if I were you guys going into this movie, that you might be scratching your head like, what is going on with this plot? Which is more developed into the manga that you guys have yet to see. That's my only thing, because a lot of people have been asking, should I see this movie because I'm an anime only? I think you're still good to see this movie if you're an anime only. You'll just, like I said, have some questions of where it's going, where certain things pop up where you're like, what the heck, who's that, or what, and stuff like that. They have something that spoils something for One for All, and stuff like that. Stuff like that. It's just it's simple stuff. That's why I said if this movie were canonically wise in the canon, it'd be placed after season 4 at the start of season 5. But if you end up seeing this movie, I think you're fine. It'll intrigue. I'll say it will intrigue you to see what's going to be expected in season 5. But yeah, but that's really all I gotta say. So that's really all I gotta say. And a funny thing is, I said I would talk about the non-spoilers for about 10 minutes, but I actually went 20 minutes talking about non-spoiler stuff. So if you guys, so for you guys who are gonna go off, I'll say if you like this video, leave a like. Also put in the comment section what you thought, or if you're gonna see the movie and stuff, and stuff like that. And also hit that subscribe button too, for My Hero Academia content. Otherwise, I'm gonna get into the spoilers discussion. So if one warning, so obviously if you guys have not seen the movie, and you really want to see it that bad, or if you're an anime only and you want to wait till you finally catch up to, or you're deep enough into the series where, the movies, where you're able to see the movie, I'd say click off this video right now before you get spoiled, because I don't want to really spoil people, because I hate people getting spoiled and stuff like that. So I'd say click off the video now, unless you are going to, well, unless you don't care about what happens in this movie or what spoilers I give. But other than that, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to take a quick little break, and I'll see you guys in the spoilers discussion. Hey guys, if you guys are checking out this part of the video, obviously you have either returned from seeing the movie and come back to this video, or you've seen the movie and you want to check out my thoughts on the spoilers. So you are now in the spoilers discussion for My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. Now, I'm going to try to remember as much as I can. Like I said, I'm just got done seeing this movie, and I did not take notes on this movie whatsoever, because I wanted to enjoy stuff. But I'm going to try to remember all the different plot points of this film as best as I can. But anyways, this movie was essentially, like I said in the non-spoiler section, Class 1A was transported to Naboo Island I forgot the thing that they were doing, but it was like some kind of community service thing. And essentially, they're helping out people. But before that, the movie starts off with the League of Villains driving this truck, and the heroes, like, for example, Rocklock, from, the Overhaul arc, they're tracking them. And basically, Dobby, he comes up, he starts, like, essentially, breaking them apart, and the League of Villains are taking these heroes out one by one and stuff like that. All of a sudden, it gets to Endeavor, and Endeavor and Dobby have a nice little short fight, and Endeavor ends up getting the best of the League of Villains. Now, when it looks like they're going to capture them, the League of Villains turn into dust, which we all know they were just little clones made from Twice. And essentially, we see that they were holding, like a rejuvenation chamber, like, the healing chambers, like in Dragon Ball Z, way back in the Frieza saga. And the fact it was holding 9 in it. So essentially, that crashes. 9 actually escapes and he gets out because his pod opens. And when Endeavor comes down to go check out the wreckage, we see Hawks. Now, if somehow you're an anime only person, either one, you didn't care about the possible spoilers you could get, or you're just checking this video because you just want to hear the spoilers. Now for anime only people, in a short description, Hawks you'll see in season 5. He will be a hero, as well as him. He will be, and I'm sorry, but look, you're gonna get spoiled. So whatever. I'm gonna be honestly blunt with some things, and that's some things from the manga that you're gonna get. But he will be the number 2 hero, going forward. So obviously, Endeavor, he really isn't, well, at first he's not a fan of Hawks, but Endeavor asks Hawks, like, why didn't you just help us? And Hawks is like, well, you see, I don't know, I was just in the area and I just want to see what's going on, and plus I just want to chillax and stuff like that. Now, like I said, this takes place in between season 4 and 5. or season 4 and some portions throughout season 5. So another spoiler, anime only people, if you are checking this video out. The reason why Hawks asks what are this league up to is because you'll find out later in the manga that he's secretly working with the League of Villains to get a plan, to understand their main plan. Now, I won't say what's currently going on in the manga right now because I'll spare you the craziness of that, but essentially that will lead up to events which are currently going on in the manga as of this video. So obviously things like that. So he's kind of like a double agent spy. He's still a hero, but he's kind of sneaking in between the league of villains. So anyways, it cuts to Naboo Island, and we see all Class 1A, doing their hero work, and that's assisting people on Naboo Island and making sure that they're all right. Like, there's this one guy that asks Todoroki, like, could you make an ice? He makes like a pillar of ice, and he's like, is this good? And stuff like that. There was these two pervs that were hitting on these two girls, and Mineta's like, what do you think about that? You should leave girls alone. And I thought it was really funny. The girls were like, oh, that's so nice. But they actually go to Ojiro and thinking it was him who saved them from those kind of stocky boys. And Mineta's like, come on, that was me who did it. And Ojiro was like, it wasn't me who did that. And they're just like, obviously loving what Ojiro supposedly did. So they still play the Mineta troll game with him. And then, you see the other heroes assisting because Class 1A has this like little headquarters at this little building they're stationed at, and essentially they receive calls around the city and make sure everyone's okay. And when there's something going on and stuff like that, like there was this one thing Kaminari had to do is he had to recharge something. Kaminari's like, oh, come on, I just use all my energy and stuff like that. Stuff like that. Who else did something? Momo was called to do something. Ida, he was called to do something too. It was very interesting to see them all do all these interesting things and stuff like that. And, just to see how far Class 1A has gone and just assisting with them actually helps them become better heroes and stuff like that. Like I said, Ida, he went to go help a lady who had a back injury. And then, Deku, Jiro, and Ochako, they all, go together. Essentially, they all go, to find this lost boy, which was Katsuma. And so when Deku finally finds Katsuma, he asks if he's okay, and, if, his sister's in there. His sister, Maharo, she later comes down, kicks Deku in the face, and she's like, you are late. You showed up like, it took you guys an hour to find my brother. How can you call yourselves real heroes? Now, this was the part where I thought, okay, she's going to be the annoying little freaking character girl. She's going to be the annoying little kid character that rags on all the Class 1A for their heroes and stuff. And essentially she says, how are these, hero wannabes want to freaking do anything and be heroes if they can't even, save a person in an hour or something like that? They walk off. And, Deku's like wondering why she was all upset at him and stuff like that. Now, Katsuma was really intrigued with what Deku, and he thanked Deku for what he did. Now, I believe it cuts to them, and essentially, she kind of questions Katsuma, her younger brother, like, why do you want to be a hero so bad and stuff like that? Hold on for a second. Guys, sorry for that quick interruption, but anyways, like I was saying, Maharo actually tells her younger brother, like, why do you care what these heroes do? And essentially, we find out that Katsuma wants to be a hero, like, obviously Deku and the others want to be a hero, and he's really, like, in love with heroes and stuff like that. So obviously we get that, aspect of him wanting to be a hero. And essentially Maharo's like, you can't be a hero. Like, you're going to get yourself into trouble and you're going to get yourself hurt. Now, I'm trying to remember. Now it cuts back to I guess the heroes when they're all done with their base. Their little townspeople come and give them food and are like all generous as a way of saying thank you for all you've done. Now, they do make a funny references how like Bakugo doesn't do anything; he's just chilling and stuff like that. Now, if you're wondering the reason why they're there, they explained that a month ago, they wanted to do this as, I guess, kind of like an initiation testing just for, like I said, for this community service kind of experience they wanted them to do. And the interesting thing is, All Might was kind of shaky on it. He's like, "Are you sure we should be able to let the kids do that?" But then we see the little, testing guy from the Hero License exam arc back in season 3. Um, no, the guy was like, "Well, you see, blah blah blah," and he was always tired and stuff like that. He actually is in UA and he's like, "Well, we need to prepare the next batch of heroes because you, All Might, are retired, and we need the next really number one hero." And obviously, it shows Deku in his class that like obviously they're the next generation and stuff like that. So it was pretty interesting. Now that took place a month ago, and it comes back to the current time and stuff like that. Now I believe this is when we get to Nine finally getting to his crew, which are Slice, Chimera, and Mummy, and they all say, "Well, yeah, now it's time to essentially seek out what I've been looking for." So I think I'm cutting ahead in the film. Um, and essentially, they go to this city. Or what happened is, you obviously see Mahara. Well, actually, no. This is way. This is actually. I think it cuts back to what Deku and Bakugo are doing. So essentially, Deku he's doing more training and stuff like that to strengthen his one for all abilities. And they make Bakugo go on night duty where he's just essentially doing like night patrols, like making sure everything's fine and nothing's good. Bakugo comes across Deku and he's like, "So, you still improving and stuff like that." And they kind of do the whole thing where, Bakugo's like, and Bakugo's essentially tells Deku's like, "It don't matter how much stronger you're gonna get or the fact that you have one for all. I'm still gonna show you why I'm gonna be the number one hero." And they have that little thing, again. Now, Katsuma shows up and he's like, "There's a villain." So I'm like, okay, they're already showing up now this early in the film. So they only show Bakugo is obviously introduced. He's like, "Where are they?" He takes Katsuma, he flies him, and he's like, "Kacchan!" And our Deku's like, "Kacchan, come on!" So obviously Deku runs after him, and Kacchan flies over there. All of a sudden, you see like this big, nasty-looking praying mantis bug, and when Bakugo goes in for attack, it doesn't affect the thing, and when Bakugo realizes something, and then all of a sudden he finds out that Maharo is using her quirk to create an illusion. She kind of instill. He does that whole intimidation thing where he's like, "Why are you doing that? You think that was stupid? Don't try to blame me," and stuff like that, and stuff like that. And it was really interesting. So the two kids, Maharo and Katsuma, they're obviously tied to the characters. Katsuma's more tied to Deku, while Maharo is more tied to Bakugo in this film, which I did like a lot. So obviously, she kind of chews them out and stuff like that, and they walk away and stuff like that. Now, they do. Now we do get a revelation. Well, it cuts to the next day, and Katsuma basically comes to Deku before he goes out to go on patrol to help out some more to do more jobs. He runs into Katsuma, and essentially Katsuma apologizes to Deku that for what his sister did, and he kind of explains his reasoning on why he wants to be a hero and stuff like that. And he says, well, his quirk isn't strong, and he feels like he could be more of a hindrance than anything to somebody. And Deku kind of gives him the encouragements, like saying, I want to help people, but if I have to fight a villain to do it, I will do it. And now they do cut to Bakugo every now and then because Bakugo was kind of overhearing the talk. So when he kind of when Deku obviously cheers, Katsuma up, essentially he goes off in his way, and before Deku leaves, this old lady was explaining to Deku, like, basically, Maharo and Katsuma's little origin or backstory makes sense of the aspect that their dad works away from home a lot, so they rarely see their dad, and their mom passed away when they were really young. I'm guessing when they were probably babies. Now they don't say in this movie how the mom died. I'm guessing the mom died either she was a hero herself, or maybe they, I guess, did what happened in Star Wars Episode 3, where, she gave birth and tragically she passed away. Yeah, but the old lady was like, yeah, we townsfolk make sure to look after them and make sure that they're okay and stuff like that. Now, I believe this cuts to the city where Nine and his gang make an appearance, and essentially, it cuts to actually Maharo and Katsuma's dad, and they're watching like a little video on the phone about how they really miss him and they can't wait to see him. And then Nine shows up out of nowhere, and he attacks the entire freaking city. He he finds the dad. And he's like, I ain't gonna kill you, but I need your quirk. Because I think early in the movie they talk about how there's been, been people losing their quirks and stuff like that. And there's like a quirk stealer going around. Now, Nine Hawks points out like this, we could be dealing with another one or all for one who's stealing quirks and stuff like that. So anyways, going back to what I was saying, um, their dad is essentially getting his quirk stolen, and when he gets his quirk stolen, Nine's like, no, this isn't it. It won't be sustainable. And all of a sudden, he just wrecks this entire freaking city. Like, he brings it to ashes. Well, not ashes, but he brings it to ruins, and there's fire everywhere. You see his gang, right behind him. And then he picks up the phone that their dad was on, and he sees that no, obviously, the quirk has passed down to his kids. So they go after the kids, and that's how they're able to get to Nabu Island. Now, I'm just cutting far ahead, and essentially, when they attack by just essentially ramming this cruise line ship into, the Nabu Island's harbor. And Nine's like, okay, he tells them, okay, go make distractions, go make, essentially go create havoc and stuff like that. So each of the group, each of his three other members in his group, they essentially go and, wreak havoc. Slice was like, her quirk, from what I'm guessing, because they don't explain the villain's quirks, but her quirks looks like her hair can just turn into sharp objects, sharp needles, and she can use that as attacks. And she uses like little, spikes and stuff like that. She throws from her hair and stuff like that. Now Chimera, who was the doggy-looking person, obviously he was the most, durable out of all of them. And he goes to the beach and he fights Ojiro and stuff like that. Ojiro is getting his butt kicked. Like he can't take some of his shots. Like I forgot. It was, and Ida and stuff like that happened. Now, even before they attack, they see Maharo and Katsuma. They do a little bit of talking and stuff like that, and they talk about, and Maharo was like, "Why do you want to be a hero so much? You're just gonna get yourself hurt, and I just care about you." So obviously, you see that it's just an older sister, caring about her brother and is worried about her brother and stuff like that. And even Deku kind of relates to that when because they cut back to the part in, I believe it was season 3, when his mom just his mom told him like, Deku, I can't do this anymore, Izuku. You're causing me too much pain, and I'm afraid of you getting hurt and stuff like that. That. So Deku obviously sees where Maharo's coming from that point and stuff like that. Anyways, that happens, And also, which was smart of the villain's point, which, really added to the tension of this film is, they took out the network stuff. So obviously everyone loses networking, so they can't call anybody. They can't call backup, the other heroes to come help him. So that's what I really loved because it created an actual tension. It's like, okay, they're legit on their own now. So anyways, going back to what I was doing, the fight with Chimera, it was Todoroki, Ida, Ojiro, and fudge. I forgot the other guy. I believe that was Sero too with them. Now Sue and Ochako, they were in the background and they were trying to help assist people. The girls were kind of there to assist and make sure people were safe and got out of Dodge. Now, when Deku hears what was going on, he goes off on his own to essentially, try to see what the hell's going on, what's the problem. He does get to the wreckage, and he realizes, well, I gotta find Maharu and Katsuma. So he runs to their house. While, in the meantime, Mineta is dealing with Fudge. I forgot the other guy who was with him at the time. Mineta, it was two of the weakest guys too. I forgot who it was. But they go up against Mummy, and Mummy's quirk is essentially whenever he wraps his bandages in someone, he can control them or like turn anything electronic into like mummified zombies essentially and beat them. Now, Bakugo, Kirishima, and Kaminari, they all show up to provide backup. Now, Mummy actually wraps Bakugo up and traps him. So obviously, Kaminari and Kirishima have to fight him. They later get, stuck or strapped up a bit. Then Bakugo breaking or losing one of his, gauntlets, he essentially breaks out of there, beats the villain in a really cool scene. He beats Mummy, and Mummy's done for the contact. And Bakugo flies off, like saying, like, I'm gonna go try to fight more villains and stuff like that. Now, in the meantime, Nine makes his appearance to go after Maharu and Katsuma, and he says to those two kids, look, I'm not here to kill you. I just want your quirk. And essentially, he's looking at Katsuma, and he's like, so you're like a type B quirk. I think that's what he said. I mean, you have blood type B, so I'm going to take your quirk. So obviously, this man, we later find out that he needs a quirk to stay alive, essentially, because his quirk is killing him, or he's like kind of on life support. He's dying essentially slowly. But Deku before he actually grabs them, Deku comes in and he frickin' tries to kick him out the way. Now he puts up this frickin' barrier shield, and Deku sees it, and Deku's like, barrier shield? Well, that's when he starts fighting. But what he actually does first is he saves the kids. He gets them out of there. He tells them to run. He starts fighting Nine, and he's just using the barrier attack every time Deku's attacking. Deku's like, I can't break through his little shield. So then Nine sticks his fingers out, and all of a sudden these beams come out of his fingers, and so obviously now he's a long distance attack. He has long distance attack. Deku comes to the point where he's like, okay, I don't understand what this guy does. He has multiple quirks, so obviously I have to go head on and attack him. Only to be realized that, and we get even from the trailer that he gets a hold of him, and then Nine is like, because when Deku powers up, he powers up to 20% full Kali, and Nine sees of this, and he's like, so you powered up your quirk, you got stronger, because he also knows. By sensing his quirk, like he's got a quirk that enhances his power, which is one for all, and what it does. So he uses 20%, and also for another thing for your anime onlys, if you see his little gauntlets, those are called his airsoft wrist or his airsoft gloves. Essentially, what they do is, if you saw episode 19, that's what helps him Deku control his finger pistol, I guess you can say, his finger attack to help him do his long range attacks. So it was good to see that animated finally, and it was cool to see. It was really cool to see. You'll see that later in season 4. But anyways, Deku's firing, and his long distance attacks aren't working because Nine's using his shield to block them. Like I said, Deku thinks of a strategy like, look, I have to close combat this guy. So he goes in for the close combat, and it doesn't work because then Nine's like, I'm gonna take your quirk. Now Deku's like, oh, he's gonna take my quirk. He's like one all for one, essentially. Now my only thing is, Deku, why didn't you just I don't know, instead of trying to get your hands off him, why didn't you use your airsoft powers to flick him and stuff like that? I don't know, but yeah. So you get that trailer where you think Deku's gonna lose One for All. Now when Nine is trying to take his powers, it doesn't work because one, I guess for people that bought into the hype of him losing, one, they show the panels of One for All. Now, if you're wondering what were the characters other than Nana, Shimura, and I think they even showed earlier in the movie about One for All. I mean, if you're wondering who those other people were, I'm just gonna say those are the previous users of One for All. So those people, you'll see what they contribute to Deku's development of One for All later. That's like season 5 material, and you'll see that much later. So I wouldn't say it's intriguing to look at, but don't worry about that till season 5 material because those are previous users of One for All. I'll just say the only one you should remember is Nana Shimura, who was All Might's master. But anyways, he tries to take One for All, and he can't because All Might said, you can only transfer One for All. You can't physically steal it. I'm guessing the only one that can do that is probably All for One. But he can't. But I don't think All for One can take it. Or he's never attempted. It's looked like he never attempted to do it. But he literally was kind of blocked from taking it. So obviously Deku is saved. He pushes Deku to the side, and Deku's just getting beat up. He's like, well, if I can't take your power, then I just might as well kill you. So Nine's shooting his little finger, beams at him, and it actually scars Deku, and he's in pain, and he's telling Maharu and Katsuma to get out of there, just run, and they're just not listening. They're there crying because they're seeing Deku take all these shots and stuff. And all of a sudden, Bakugo comes out of the way. I think Maharu uses some kind of illusion to show some big fat Deku, which was very funny, and to show that Deku's in trouble. Bakugo comes in, he fires his AP shots and stuff like that, and this dude's coming in hot. He's blocking his attacks because I guess this character has Ultra Instinct too, because he sees some of the characters' moves when they're coming too. There was one part in the movie near the tail end of the movie where he literally just sticks his hand out, puts his shield up, and he blocks Ochako from doing a move or something like that on him. And I was like, what? Okay, I'm like, he's got Ultra Instinct or something. So Bakugo's going in there, and he gets pummeled himself. Now Bakugo thinks he's got the upper hand on him in one part of the fight, and then all of a sudden, this blue-looking dragon thing comes out from his back and literally crushes Bakugo. I was like, what the hell is that? So obviously he stole some quirks from people. He's been stealing quirks from. I don't know what any of those quirks were. The only quirk that was confirmed by Nine that we got, that we know of, is the fact that he has, quirk stealing quirks, and then obviously he can control weather stuff. They never explained any of the other guys' quirks either. So anyways, he literally crushes freaking Bakugo, and even Bakugo states this dude freaking I think he broke my ribs or something like that. And, Deku comes in to try to help out, and Deku and freaking Bakugo just get shafted by freaking Nine, and literally Maharu and Katsuma are all crying. They're in tears. They're like, they're gonna die. And they're wondering why Deku and Bakugo are protecting them so much and stuff like that. But then, it's looking like all hope is lost. He's gonna get his hands on Katsuma because he was looking for Katsuma because he has the blood type he was looking for. And he starts freaking out and pinning out. And then, Slice comes. She's like, "Look, it's another time. We need to come back at another time. It's time to retreat." So they essentially call their forces back. Chimera, he was actually mopping the floor with Todoroki, Ida, and the others. Like, literally mopping the floor with them. They could not stop him. And they were almost about to die. Now, Chimera sees the little flare gun Slice shoots up into the air, and he basically retreats. So essentially, they all move, and also the power is also out too, because Nine actually does electric strike on Deku and Bakugo in the first fight, and he essentially takes out the power. So now they got no power and no nothing. So anyways, after all the fighting's over, they take Ochako and I believe it was Sero next to her. They find Deku and Bakugo's bodies and stuff like that. Or no. What happens is this. So Koda, he actually has these ravens show up, and essentially Ochako does show up along with Sero, and they get Bakugo and Deku out of there, as long as the kids as well. So yeah, so otherwise, Class 1A and the rest of the townsfolk, they're in this, like, I guess, sheltered area where they're giving them food. The Class 1A is giving the sheltered people food and making sure that they got some stuff to sleep and stuff like that, as well as after that's all settled, they take care of themselves, and they basically go over some things like talking like how are we going to beat these villains and stuff like that. And Ochako, they go check on Deku and Bakugo, and they're like beat up. They're unconscious right now. And the doctors who have healing powers, it's not as strong as Recovery Girl, where she can just kiss you and you're healed no matter what. They have like some kind of slow power, and they're like, it don't matter what we do. If we can heal them to as much as we can, but it's not going to replace the broken bones they suffered in the fight. So then we get Katsuma showing up. She essentially saying, "This is my fault. I need to help them." Now Mahoro is like, "No, you shouldn't do this." And Katsuma is like, "No, I have to do this. And this is my chance to be a hero and help them, because they tried to help us." So we get the confirmation of Katsuma's quirk is that he has cell reparation or something like that. Like, something that enhances your cells and stuff like that. And he's doing it. And essentially, Bakugo and Deku are later, all healthy and dandy. Now, as Class 1 is talking about how to deal with the villains and stuff like that, Mahoro and Katsuma show up, and they're like, and Katsuma's like, "It's all my fault. They just want me. So let me get handed over to the villains and stuff like that." And Todoroki's and now some of Class 1A is like, "No, we can't do that." Now Todoroki's like, "Look, let's just hand them over, and then we can find some way to stop the villains some other way." So all of a sudden, Deku comes out and he's like, "No, we can't do that." So Deku is obviously recovered, and essentially he's like, "No, we have to fight back these guys. We have to protect the people because we can't let these people get caught in the crossfire." Then Bakugo shows up and he later agrees. Now they have a nice little look at each other, him and Deku, and essentially goes over all my, I forgot what season. It was like one of those former season things where they're talking about, how both of them are so strong. And essentially they have to do a Goku and Vegeta where they have to work together to defeat them thing. So essentially they realize that they're going to have to work together. So like I said, it's like Goku and Vegeta. Not exactly fusing, but they realize they have to work together to stop one common enemy, despite the rivalry going on between them. So Deku comes up with this plan to move the fight to the ruins area, essentially, and split up the three villains and have each group of 1A characters, fight, different heroes. While they also realize that, Nine has a limitation to how much he can use his quirk powers, because after that he eventually starts getting weak. Now we actually shift back to Nine and what his group is, and they're asking, "Where's Mummy?" And we find out Mummy's locked up, because they beat him and they captured him. Um, so essentially, what we find out with Nine is essentially he has his quirks, because over the quirks he's taken, it's destroying his cells, especially every time he uses his quirk. So obviously, what happens is, um, you know, we cut to a flashback where he finds Chimera and he saves him, and essentially, he basically works with the League of Villains. And also the League of Villains do make like appearances in this movie. Now they're not in this movie altogether. Shigarachi's in the film and stuff like that, and they're kind of just background characters in this film because they're not important of characters. But essentially, Nine allies himself with the League of Villains, and yes, we see the crazed doctor, the same, and this free anime onlys. Um, yes, if you're wondering, that doctor looks awfully familiar. Yes, it is the same doctor that told Deku back in season one that he does not have a quirk. So yes, that's that same doctor. If you wanted to know, I won't go in depth, but yes, he's evil, and he's also in league with the League of Villains. Um, so essentially, he works at the League of Villains, and the Doctor, enhances his abilities and gives him, some, trait that's, similar to All for One's Quirk Stone abilities. Especially for your manga only people, you see that, he did the test in that little basement where he has the Nomus and stuff like that. If you, for you manga readers too, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, they didn't show any Nomus, but, that's the place where his headquarters are at, where currently the manga's at right now. Um, so, anyways, it cuts to that, and that's how it explains how he was put into the pod and everything. So, yeah. Anyways, going back, like I said, Deku makes the plan. It was a pretty smart plan. And essentially it was just to protect Maharu and Katsuma. So essentially, Nine wakes up and it's climax time. So one thing is now, Momo and Jesus. I gotta remember these characters, guys. I gotta remember these characters. Like literally remember these characters because these characters are freaking forgettable at some parts. My goodness. I see. That's what I need to do. Remember some of the characters. Ayama, yeah, Ayama. Now Ayama was obviously weaker. That's who Mineta was with earlier against the fight with Mummy. Now Momo and Ayama, they're obviously weakened because one, Momo was literally making supplies for the people, and she makes these huge freaking like cannons after Ayama attacks them and is splitting up the villains. And Momo's cannon uses the last bit of energy to split them apart. They make Slice go to this underground area where she fights Tokoyami and Mina, and Chimera, he gets the rematch against Ida, Ida and Todoroki with the help of Sue and Kirishima, which I thought was a great tandem. Now I'm gonna go into the fight separately. The Slice versus Tokoyami and Mina fight was another good fight. Obviously, you see that Tokoyami has improved a lot, and he also has claws like he's Wolverine. That's for anime. That's for anime only people. Now, there was a part where Tokoyami gets the upper hand on Slice, and it looks like Slice is about to lose, but she doesn't give up. She goes crazy. Mina's dodging all the attacks. She's firing. She's fired because they cut off her hair, and she fires off these little spikes. It hits Mina in the thigh, and she goes down, and she's down for the count. And then Tokoyami, he gets super upset. He gets heated, and he rages out like way back in season 3, and he beats the ever living crap out of Slice. So You know, he breaks open, you know, the underground part, and the rocks are just collapsing at him and Mina. He covers Mina, he protects Mina. So obviously that fight's done. Now it cuts to now the Chimera and Todoroki, Ida, Sue, and Kirishima fight was, oh my goodness, that dude, that fight, I'm sorry, that was a legit great fight. That fight was amazing. You cannot lie to me. Hands down, that fight was legit. It was legit. I think Ojiro was there too. Ojiro was there too. Um, no, Ojiro wasn't there. But that was a fight. My goodness. Dude, Chimera versus Sue, Kirishima, Ida, and Todoroki. I swear, that was one of the best fights in this movie because this was Todoroki's moment to have shine because we all know Todoroki's the third strongest in Class 1A, and goodness, there's nothing I can say about this fight, but the fighting scenes in this, especially when Chimera went, I guess he turned into some kind of griffin or something like that. I don't know. He was some kind of griffin. That's what he was. Um, so he essentially fights them, and essentially, you know, they look like to get the upper hand on him, but you know he's raging out, and then Todoroki gets this idea to do essentially like his dad does, which is final attack, his prominence burst. Essentially, this time Todoroki does something like that, but with his ice, and he freezes Chimera, like full body freezes him. And I was like, that was bad ass. That's what I'm talking about. Don't sleep on my boy Todoroki. I always saw that. I was like, that is great. I was like, Todoroki not getting slept on. Please, that fight was good. If you've seen this movie, you cannot lie to me. That's one of the best My Hero Academia fights in the entire series. God, in the animation, don't even get me started because now I'm getting to the best part. So, anyways, this is even way before all that events happen. So Nine is walking up to get the kids. Now, obviously, like Deku said, he sees that obviously Nine can use his quirks to a certain extent, or he's essentially running on a timer. So the plan is Sero and Ochako essentially throw rocks at Nine to essentially stall him and use his quirk powers. Essentially, that doesn't work, and to the point, you know, Ochako, she's about to start puking, but she'd give it all she's got, and then stuff like that. And essentially, that plan fails because he beats them. Bakugo comes in, and he tries to fight him again, and now Nine is like, oh, you're not dead. I thought I killed you. And, you know, obviously second. Then Deku comes in to fight, and these guys have a great tag team fight. Oh my goodness, they were having a great tag team fight. The animation on Deku and Bakugo versus Nine, the second fight, was, oh god, amazing. There's this one part where, you know, Deku gets knocked back to the air. Bakugo grabs him and he throws him like a catapult, like when, you know, Goku did the same thing to Freeze to an extent in the Tournament of Power. And my god, he kicks. There's nothing I gotta say. So anyways, Nine actually beats them again, and it's looking like all hope is lost, because he uses his thunder power, and it looked like, oh, they're down for the count, they're done. So and he's starting to get weaker. His quirk his quirk abilities are starting to get hampered. He's starting to like finally lose power. And that's when Deku and Bakugo look like they're on attack, and then that's when he does the lightning strike and stuff like that, and then that's when, you know, that's when he thinks that they attack him. Now, because of it, they're going up to the kids now. Jiro and Ojiro try to hold him off the best they can, and that's not working because he's just blowing them back, whatever. Now, Soji, he's with the kids, and this dude's getting blasted from the back, like literally from the, his little finger beams, and he collapses over, and it's looked like, and essentially Maharo, which was one of the most emotional scenes in the film, she goes in charge and she's like, "Don't attack my brother, you won't." She's like, "Stop it." Nine, at this point, he's desperate. He needs freaking Katsuma to, heal himself. He picks up Maharo, I kid you not. He picks up this little girl and starts choking her. And he's telling Katsuma, he's like, give me your quirk right now or I'm gonna kill her. And I'm like, okay, now, okay, Nine. You were rocking with me. I was liking you as a villain. You look like you were just some, villain that was coming across his way being some kind of respectful villain. Oh no, you cold for this. You cold for this now. You cannot put your hands on a girl like that and freaking choke her out. This dude is literally choking the life out of Maharu, and I'm like, please come on. I know you. And then it's like obviously you see that Deku and Baku are going to come in the way and save her, but it's like, be like, hurry up! I was like, hurry up! Come on! I was like, no, don't kill her! And he's like, and Cosmo's like, no, don't do it! He starts running to Nine, and Nine's like. Nine drops her and, or Nine throws her away and she's like, give me your quirk. And all of a sudden, Deku comes out of the way. He decks him. And then Bakugo saves Maharu. And then Nine's like, how are you guys still alive? How are you guys taking my attacks? And to only be realized is the reason why they were able to survive the electric strike was because they used Kirishima as a decoy to basically absorb the stuff. Now, Kirishima, he went dumb the rest of the way, which was always funny to see, because he's like, Now, this is where we get the final climax fight of this movie. And obviously, Nine's getting pissed. Now, Deku and Bakugo are getting the best of him. Like, legit getting the best of Nine now. Like, they're getting the upper hand and everything. And all of a sudden, Nine gets heated. He gets heated. He has some kind of Super Saiyan moment. He starts powering up and he creates these. He brings back his weather powers and he's literally destroying the little ruins island. He's destroying the ruins, the little island they're on right now. He's destroying it. And Deku, he goes up to 100% all for one. Or not all for one. What the hell am I saying? I keep getting confused. Deku goes 100% one for all. So he charges up. He goes 100%, and I like the way they do that. The different colors, and he's like 100%, one for all. Or full killing. 100%. Now he doesn't go spiky like he did in episode 13 in this moment. So he goes in for a punch. Bakugo does his final move, and to no avail, it doesn't work. So they get blown back, and Nine's just being like, you're not gonna stop me. He's like, I'm here for, essentially, we find out his reasoning on why he's a villain is he wants to have society be proven to the point of, essentially, dominant species and stuff like that. And, Deku is like, that's no way to live and stuff like that. Now, obviously, it's a pretty messed up, idealistic way of seeing how the world wants to work. And, Nine is a really good character. I like him a lot. He's a badass villain. Now, he does the Blue Dragons thing on them, and he is crushing Deku and Bakugo. Now, because Deku used one for all 100%, he's got a freaking broken arm, and, he's thinking, like, what can we do to do something? He's like, think, what would All Might do? And then he gets this idea, it's like, I have to give Bakugo one for all. So, he's like, Kacchan! And Bakugo, when he sees, he's like, Deku, are you sure about this? And then Deku reaches out his hand, his bloody hand, and then Bakugo reaches out his. Their hands touch, and Deku passes one for all to Bakugo. Yes, he passes one for all to Bakugo. They both break out, and they both power up to one for all, 100% essentially. Their hair are all spiky. Deku hair is spiky like we saw in the overhaul fight in the anime. Bakugo's hair gets spiky. They have the electricity around them, And then My Hero Academia. You get legit. I don't care what anybody says. This was not only the best animated scene in My Hero Academia's series as a whole, and I thought freaking episode 13, 100% Deku versus Overall had an amazing animation. This animation was god tier! God tier! This anime. If you watch this movie, the animation, I swear, when I was watching this fight, the second half, 100% One for All, Deku and Bakugo versus, I guess, Full Power 9. Oh my goodness. That animation was clean and my mouth was dropped. Like, I was like, you can't be serious. This animation was amazing. There's nothing else I can say about that. There's nothing else I can talk about it. They get some blows in. Deku goes in and he's like, this is it. This is my final smash. Because he transferred the power. And you see the little fire and stuff like that. And he does stuff like, he does, you know, stuff like that. He does his final smash. And there's this one badass shot where he just goes and he looks like a frick. As much as a damn villain as he did in the freaking episode 13 when he was about to finish off Overhaul. This guy comes in, and I'm like, this animation's clean! I'm sorry. This was one of the best animated scenes of anime history. One of the best. I don't know what you say. That's definitely top 5. That's definitely top 5. There's definitely top 5. So, for you people that were complaining about episode 12 in this season 4, there's a reason why. Because this animation was great. They obviously must have... They must have inked the freaking money for this. So they end up defeating, 9. And the crazy thing is, in the fight, not only Deku has broken arms and stuff like that, Baku has broken arms. And they don't matter. They're just moving on. They're just pushing. They're using their legs, dude. Oh my goodness. But anyways, they defeat 9. Hawks shows up. Some of the other heroes show up to help out the city folk and some of Class 1A and stuff like that. And then this is when we get the scene, if you checked out my non-spoiler part of the video, where I said I almost teared up crying. So, obviously, Deku is talking to All Might, and he's telling All Might, he's like, look, I did what I had to do. I gave One for All to Bakugo, and All Might's shocked. He's like, and then Deku's just crying, and he's like, I'm sorry I failed you. You know, I'm sorry. And this is where that scene alone was very emotional. And I was like, dude, don't make me cry right now. Don't make me cry. Now, obviously, still in the back of your head, you have to be like, well, the manga series is currently going on. If this was really, and Deku does say in his movie that he does end up becoming the greatest hero. And it's like, he obviously gets his One for All powers back. How? So in that thing, in that thing, you see, the red lines over Deku when he always goes full Kaling. They start going around his body, and One for All has returned to his body. And now I'm going to have to watch other people's review, especially Deep My Academia people. And I'll probably make an explained video about this scene. But from what I'm thinking, I might just thought of something. Because they don't explain it, which I guess can be a nitpick. Because they don't explain how did One for All go from Bakugo to Deku. Now what I thought was maybe Bakugo had recovered. He given One for All back to Deku, which, is my only guess. But no, I'm guessing, the power. My prediction is this. This is not this. I'm not saying this is what happened, but I'm gonna try to do some research on this and try to find some things out. And when I find that out, I'll make another video where you guys can follow it out and see what that thing is explained. So what I'm guessing the power of One for All is not done with Deku yet, and they see that Deku's the one with the most potential, because if especially when you read later in the manga, um, they always state that Deku, he has the most potential out of all the users and stuff like that. And especially what happens to him later in the future. I won't say that for anime only people, with what happens in the future regarding Deku, but I'm guessing, One for All gave the powers back to Deku because I'm guessing he has not yet fulfilled his journey as using One for All, which I'm guessing. Now they show Nana, and I'm guessing maybe she was, I guess, the main culprit within One for All that helped Deku get it back. I don't know. That was the only thing that left me at a head scratcher because they don't explain it in the movie. All Might doesn't say anything about it. So I'm gonna have to do some research looking at this, and I'll get back to you on that. But yeah, the movie ends off essentially, Deku and Class 1A help out the townsfolk with the damages and the debris. Maharu and Katsuma's dad come back to the city, and he's happy to see them. And then as Class 1A is about to leave on the cruise ship, Maharu and Katsuma, they show up and say their goodbyes to Class 1A, but mostly Deku and Bakugo. And Katsuma essentially tells Deku and Bakugo, he's like, I'm gonna be a hero, and I promise I'm gonna be strong, and stuff like that. And, because of what happened, it only pushed him, further so to want to be a hero, essentially. So, Bakugo's like, you better keep getting stronger, kid. It's gonna take you a while to get to our level, essentially. And then Deku is like, oh, he's like, that's great. I'll see you one day at UA. And stuff like that. That inspires Katsuma to be a hero. And yeah, that's when the movie ends. Now, I left out of the movie theater because one, I had to really go to the bathroom, like legit really go to the bathroom. Like I was holding it and I was like, crap, I cannot believe I'm doing this right now. I had to hold that in for like legit the huge second half of the movie. I had to leave, so I don't know if there's any post-credit scenes regarding anything. So yeah. Also another point I gotta make. Shigarashi actually shows up to where Nine was at because now his other crews were arrested. Nine, he gets out of there, but he's like damaged, and it's kind of an interesting scene because he's crawling like Anakin did in Episode 3, and essentially he sees Shigarashi. He's like Shigarashi, and he looks like he's asking for help, and then Shigarachi's like, because we all know Shigarashi, he don't like people taking his spotlight. So Shigarashi uses his decay quirk on Nine and kills him. And yeah, but like I said, at the end of the cruise ship when they're all sailing back to UA, that's where the movie ends, and boom, that's My Hero Academia's Hero Rising. Like I said in my non-spoiler review, this movie was really good. I had a lot of fun, and yeah, I had a blast watching this movie, and this movie was really freaking good. I watched the dubbed version of the movie. If I had more money, I would go back and see the subbed version. I'm not good with money, but if I had another chance to go back to the movie theaters, buy me a ticket and go see the subbed, I would. And I wish I had more money to go see this movie again. I have the money, but I'm on a budget right now. But yeah, this movie was really good, and I had a lot of fun watching this, and it was a blast. From beginning to end, I was intrigued. Just the character moments, I love the Deku, my favorite scene was when Deku and, Bakugo fight at 100%, One for All, and stuff like that. This movie was good. Now, Horikoshi said this will be the last My Hero Academia movie ever to be made, so don't count on making or seeing a My Hero Academia movie 3. So obviously the movies for My Hero Academia are done now. And he also did say this movie would be something similar to like of the end of the series, if the series was ending. And yeah, I can see this was like honestly a movie where it's like, geez, you could see the series ending like right there if it was, but things like that. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching this, and yeah. So if you guys like this video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this movie and what were your favorite parts of this film. And who was your favorite character? And did you like Nine a lot in his ideal ways? As well as, what did you think of all these great character moments and stuff like that? I thought they were epic. Also, hit that subscribe button to get more My Hero Academia content because me and my guest, the Red Wolf / Denzel, we always do My Hero Academia episode reviews. Now, the reason why, if you check out my videos, and the reason why you're asking why wasn't he on this video, he's really an anime only, and he doesn't want to really see the movie because he doesn't want to be spoiled for future events of the series. So yeah, that's why he's not in this video, and he didn't have any intentions on seeing the movie. But other than that, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I've talked about this movie for about an hour and 20 minutes, but I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next video. Well, this Saturday, if you guys want to see, My Hero Academia episode 20's review. So other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta get some sleep. Other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully, you guys have a great day, night, whenever you're checking this video out. But other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace.